Hey, good morning, everyone. It's LaMont Wheat at Lake August Gardens, and we are getting into spring. And I wanted to give you an early spring tour of the garden before everything really takes off. But as you can see here in this entry bed, there's still some bulbs that are blooming. There's still some in the ground that haven't come up yet. The pansies were really kind of devastated by the winter, but they're bouncing back. There are some allium bulbs coming up, as you can see, big white alliums. There's some already up and some dianthus that are getting ready to bloom. The grass is starting to come back as well. Here we have some lamb's ear that has been replaced and various grasses that are starting, but the hyacinths have been amazing. They're kind of at the end of their bloom now. You can see some of them have even sent up a second stalk, but they're about done. The little purple grape hyacinths are starting their show now, and soon the lamb's ear will be blooming. Let's move around to some of the other gardens. The smell of spring is in the air, and the red buds are dazzling everywhere. This is our shade garden. There's still yet some work to be done, but you can see the dianthus pink are starting to bloom here. There is heuchera that's growing in a blue grass. There are some other oriental grasses that are poking up. The hosta has not started yet. A friend gave me 2 cypresses from Northern California that I'm just cultivating in those proven winter pots, but those are not proven winter plants. But I'm growing them under this huge persimmon tree. Those are the giant sequoias, actually. So there's 2 of them, and I'm hoping they made it through the storm. But you can see here the variegated ajuga is about to put on its show. It'll be blooming here in just a moment, and then it will grow and cover this whole corner, which is the intention of putting it here. I want to just have a solid border of variegated ajuga, but there are lots of hostas in this bed, as well as still some lilies that are starting to poke up. You can see here there'll be another display of lilies. Another display of tulips all through here that are getting started. And once they finish blooming, the hostas should be up in the background, as well as our hydrangeas should be taken off. There's about 6 hydrangeas in here. They're the blue. So in a future video, you'll see this bed will come alive quite a bit. So things are just breaking dormancy and waking. In this bed, we have the variegated sledge or carex that I have divided into 4 additional plants, and then that's one of the big ones that I didn't touch just in case these didn't survive. But we got carex there. You can see as well, pardon the shadow, the sun's coming up behind me in the east, but there are some bulbs in here. There are big hollyhocks that are coming up. The irises are starting. Got some allium here that is also starting. There are tulips all along the front as well that will be coming up And I planted this perennial, which is a pestamon, the dark towers, so that should have huge pink blooms on it in this bed in the summer. But you can see here, these are tulips that were chilled, and they are the white tulips with the red flare on them. The red flare isn't that pronounced, but nevertheless, they are, get out of the shade, are blooming quite nicely. You can see the daylilies are opening up in front of the sage there, as well as the tall daisies. There are some butterfly bushes in this bed, as well as there is a vitex here, and that stem is a tall yellow tuller poplar tree that was given to me by our friend Rose. The irises are moving quite quickly. These did not bloom last year, so I'm excited to see what color they will be. These irises here were given to us and don't know what color they are, so hopefully they'll bloom this year. Planted them in the fall. Those have been there a year and they were really small, so they should bloom this year. They're taking off nicely. You can see here we got more hyacinths that have bloomed out. There's a beautiful pink one still remaining. And then we jump over to this bed. There is more beautiful irises. I know these are the chocolate irises. There's some white hyacinths here. You can see the sedum in the back. It's taking off. It's time to take those stalks off. I leave those for winter interest. We have more of those beautiful white tulips that jumped up. These tulips, again, were chilled. You may have seen one of the videos that I created where I was making a distinction between chill bulbs and not chill bulbs. Well, these were chilled, and they have been blooming now for most of March, and they're getting their nicks on them. And so I wanted to get this video done so you guys can see the performance, because they are starting to lose the petals now, but there are some later ones that are coming up. You can see in this bed I kind of completed the pattern with the daisies in the back, and then we have the daylilies in the front. Those are a chocolate daylily. I think it's called Little Peanut Butter, actually. I haven't cared for them because the blooms are really small, and I'll show them to you in the summer, but in mass, they are not so bad. Here are some Rose of Sharon that are opening up, and there's the Hydrangea Limelight that I relocated in one of my first videos. And then this is a sweet gum tree that is putting on its pollen. It may produce some cones. This one is a unique variety, so it won't get too big. It'll grow really narrow. I'll stand back so you can see it. It'll grow really narrow and tall there, so it should stay nice and narrow in that area. And hopefully it doesn't produce all those cones, but if it does, we'll deal with that, right? But as you can see there. Okay guys, I just want to show you the front entrance beds mainly, and the tulips and how beautiful they're doing in these beds. I won't get in the shadow, and how everything is really just jumping. But in another few weeks, it should be amazing. And I'll continue our tour in a follow-up video, and we'll go down the front of the lake looking at the perennial gardens. And we'll also go down the drive looking at those perennial gardens that are just waking up But I wanted to keep this video short. I hope you guys have a fantastic morning, and we'll see you in the next video.